DeMarcus, before the draw started, we were kind of talking about, what the expectations were for this U.S. men's national team. Now that we know who their opponents will be in the group stage, is success for them contingent upon them emerging from this group? If they don't emerge from this group, is that going to be a big blemish?
I think so.
For them?
I think so.
Yeah.
On paper, they should get out of this group.
Yeah.
I don't care about, a lot of them it's their first World Cup, their age, they're the youngest team, they need experience. No, with the team that we have and the talent, and with Greg trying to put all this together, yes, I think we should get out of this group.
Kaylin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I feel the standard for the U.S. should always be to get out of the group. That should just be to qualify, obviously, first, and then to get out of the group. And then from there, it's to push on from there. And some of that depends on who you face up with and how things go. And so I feel really good about this team. I think that for going against England, like, one, it's a matchup that I think will have, so much attention and hype leading up to it. I remember when 2010 came and it was US England, and I just think that kind of suits this personality of the team too, to kind of really go up against maybe the big names of the Premier League that everybody's watching. And I think we've got some young guys that I think are either in the Premier League doing major damage or wanting to maybe move towards it soon. So I think that kind of would suit the personality of this group. And then down the line, I think those are winnable games. So I would expect the U.S. to get out as well.
Doyle?
Yeah. The talent is there for the U.S. And I think that throughout qualifying, we saw the pieces start to get put together. Obviously, it didn't come together completely, and partially that was underperformance, partially it was injuries, suspensions. Like it was almost like anything that could go wrong did, other than Tyler Adams being available for basically the whole time, which was like, whew. But I thought they were kids entering this, and they showed a lot of character. And on the other side of it, they have know-how, and they have the ability to go into these games and impose themselves with the right mentality, and that's so huge. And when you have that, and you have talent, like it's a pretty good combination. I'm really looking forward to it. And I need to say, I didn't get the USA versus England on Thanksgiving dream, but it turns out this game, it's on Black Friday. November 25th is Black Friday, so it's the day after Thanksgiving. So it's still gonna be a spectacle here.
It's still a day off. Like, that's
still a day off. Not for us, but this is a Black Friday I'm happy to work during, because it's like, what better reason than that? I'm pretty jacked. I'm pretty jacked for this.
Pretty jacked. All right. Well, here is what the schedule looks like for the United States when the World Cup starts. November 21st will be their first match, and that matchup to be determined, that is going to be, it will be either Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine, depending on what happens in that playoff. And then, as Doyle mentioned, on Black Friday, November 25th, the big matchup against England, followed by a game against Iran on November 29th. It's funny because, DeMarcus, you mentioned this, like the familiarity with England, and a lot of the guys will have played with some of these guys on the England squad. What is, when you have that kind of familiarity with the team, how does that change the mentality? Like, are you like more just ready to go after? What does that do for the mentality of a player?
It really does, because I spoke a little bit about it when we played Mexico in that quarterfinal match.
Yeah.
We knew them. We had played them. Well, not myself personally, but the history with the USA versus Mexico. We knew them. We knew exactly how they want to play. We knew their players. We knew everything about them. So that gave the group an extra confidence, an extra boost, to not so much that we wouldn't have had that going into that match, because we knew what was at stake, but at the same time, internally you have that extra little buzz inside you, like, okay, we can win this game, and everyone says that to themselves, and then you go out and perform. And I think that will help the United States going into that game against England.
Yeah, Bees, I think a lot of people are going to look back towards that last World Cup match against England in 2010 that you played in. And there's been so much conversation around the pressure on England overall, just like the massive pressure from the media, their fans. And I think kind of the at points that's sort of seemed to make them a little bit fragile, or it's weighed on them in ways that haven't always been helpful. Did you feel that pressure from that England team, or was that something you guys talked about leading up to your match against them in 2010? It's not to say there weren't pressure, obviously, on you guys, but was that a dynamic that you felt existed going into that one, or was that not really a part of the picture?
Not really. Obviously, when you play against England, because, people will say, well, a lot of people will agree with the Premier League is the best league in the world. And a lot of those players play in Premier League. So the media circus is going to be around that team. But no, it wasn't a factor for us. To be honest, it really didn't matter. I think that just because that it was England, and a lot of our guys were familiar with them, it helped kind of ease the nerves a bit and just go out there and play football.
Doyle, how are you feeling? What is if there is a game, I feel like England's the obvious choice here, but I don't know a ton about Iran. We don't know yet who that first opponent is going to be. Again, it's either Scotland, Wales, or the Ukraine. Are these all winnable games for the US? Yeah,
for sure. But part of it is Berhalter's got to be smart about prioritizing them. I've game because it's so tasty, right? It's England, it's Black Friday, like it is going to draw eyeballs. It is also the least important game of the three. You gotta make sure you beat the teams that you should beat. And the US, again, barring injuries and on talent, should beat whoever the winner of Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine is, and they should beat Iran. And if you do that, you advance, whatever the outcome is against England. So I'm hoping that Greg thinks that way and understands that, and I'm hoping at the same time that he's able to put out a team that can get it done in all three games, because he's talked since day one. We want to change the way the world views American soccer. Winning this group, I think would move the needle. Winning this group with a strong performance with 3 points over England would move the needle in that regard. Go ahead.
No, we got out of the group of death in 2014.
Yeah, and the US topped England's group in 2010. So the obvious answer here is bring DeMarcus Beasley back. Bring DeMarcus Beasley back.
Hey, you know what? Let me start stretching right now. Hold on. Let me get my.
We know Jesus still got it. No question.